And we have no rest for the weary as we're going to be joined by South Range head coach TJ Irons. Well, you are on running point with Anthony Hartwig. Is this Coach Irons?
This is. This
All
is.
right. All right, Coach. Thank you so much for taking the time to call in and talk about your volleyball program.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And you are someone that has experience as a volleyball coach. It's been a minute, but you kind of went back to volleyball after a kind of hiatus out of volleyball. What drew you back to volleyball to take over this program this year?
Yeah, I mean, volleyball has always been a big part of my life. Started in high school and all through college it was there, and then starting at South Range, as I got here, I got hired as a third grade teacher, and it just so happened the third grade teacher was also the volleyball coach. So it fit in perfect there in 2000 when I got here, and I did it till around 2008, and then had a young family and some things came up, just decided to step away for a while. But I have a son who's played basketball, and I got to be a part of that. I have three daughters that all love volleyball, and I'm lucky enough right now to have Emily, who graduated last year, but set for the Raiders for the past few years. She's on our staff. Reagan is a junior, and she's our libero. And then my youngest daughter, Allie, is a seventh grader. And I can tell you that, we didn't have a coach at South Range hired when we went into the quarantine for COVID-19. And that whole time I had my three daughters and probably my wife, too, working me pretty hard about, why don't you get back in the coaching? And the more they talked to me about it, the more I got excited about it. And that was probably the biggest reason was, they kind of talked me into it. And then as I thought more about it, volleyball just always kind of been a part of me, and I was excited to get back into it.
You coached for 8 years from 2000 to 2008, and it's been 12 years since then. What kind of ways has the game kind of evolved since you stepped down the first time?
Well, I can tell you the girls seem to be overall a lot more skilled. I know there's a lot more opportunities now for them to be playing in the off season as far as club and things like that. But I think just overall the coaching seems to be a lot stronger. I think the players are just overall more skilled. I think just because they're getting more opportunities to play. Teams are deeper. It's definitely changed that way. The game just is sped up a little bit because of the skill level.
What was the club scene and the JO scene like back in the early 2000s when you coached?
We typically, in our program, 9 through 12, I would say, had maybe 1 to 3 girls that played. And the other thing that we were dealing with here at South Range when I was finishing up is we were just starting our girls soccer program. And, our girls soccer program is so good, and it's so fun to go watch them play. But at that time, we were even smaller than we are now, and we were kind of, dividing up a lot of the girl athletes were starting to divide up. So you also had that going on, which didn't give us, a whole lot of girls that were just specifically volleyball girls. So that was one of the challenges. But it's just it's a lot different for sure.
You had some talented players back in the day. How many of your old players kind of reached out when they heard that you got the job and were excited that you were back with the volleyball program?
Well, you're going to make me feel old because, one of them, I had her daughter last year, and she had her daughter in class, and she reached out right away and just was excited about it. Another girl that's in our Hall of Fame. Actually, both those girls were our setters on the championship year we had. And that was Becky Scourin and Anna Waldell. They reached out right away. Kelly Skriniar was another one of our setters, and her mom still works with us doing the book. So they reached out when they heard, and I've gotten a few, text messages and emails and things. It's been kind of, good to hear from them.
And in the last decade, this program has been very successful, whether it's getting to the district championship or winning it. Coach Rachel Baker came in 2013 and really changed the culture at South Range. What was it like when you took the realm of this program and you knew how much success it has had, and you knew that you kind of were stepping into a program that knew how to win?
Sure. It's, looking back at when Coach Baker was coaching, if I'm honest, I'll tell you that my daughter was super excited. Emily was super excited to play for Coach Baker, and I think she kind of got into the same mode I did with her family growing, and she decided to leave. But some of the teams she had here were just absolutely incredible. And I think when I look at some of the girls coming into the program now that were little, like my daughter Emily and Reagan, and they saw that, so they decided that volleyball was going to be, a big part of what they do. So that was great. And watching Emily, through her career and the success that she had with, Coach Kamara and Coach Luckland, it's great. And I can also tell you that the young girls this year, from the minute that they stepped in the gym, they absolutely they wanted to be a part of it. And you've seen enough of our games to see that we're a pretty young team, but those girls have earned those spots. So it's been pretty neat to be a part of this now, and after the tradition that Coach Baker and those other coaches they've set a high standard, that's for sure.
And we've talked to a couple coaches today, and they've all had a lot of seniors on their team. You're the opposite, where you have one senior on the team, and you've had to ask a lot of young players to step into big roles. What's that been like from your perspective as a coach, to kind of throw some young players into the lion's den and see them kind of make adjustments on the fly? And at least for the last week, they've been playing extremely well.
Sure. It's a neat thing. And as a coach, you love to see that youth, and you love to see that excitement. And like I said, they had that coming in. I mean, they absolutely, you just tell they love volleyball and they want to be a part of it. The other side of that is, with youth and with that excitement also just comes mistakes and errors. And, a lot of these girls were, they're playing against 8th graders last year at this time, and now they're playing against, seniors from Boardman that are just, in a Division I school. So I think I had to be patient with some of the stuff there. We got to the game against Lakeview, and I think the paper asked me about it, and I said, we're a young team, but at the same time, we're halfway through our season. We got to stop using that as an excuse. And I think these girls took that to heart, and they started to realize, we can't just keep using that as an excuse that we're young and we're going to keep making these mistakes. I mean, they really have stepped up. Julia Blasco on the outside, Sarah Coons, both freshmen. Maddie Dado has stepped in for Maria Primavera, who's, was second on our team in kills. She had to step in for her. We have Maddie Mook, who's a freshman that's coming in to serve. So she's tough. And then also, aside from the freshmen, you look at someone like, Bree Heiner, who's just absolutely been a spark plug for us. You look at a girl like, Julie Stakowitz, who's only a sophomore. Jamie Farron, who's only a sophomore. Our setters are a freshman and a sophomore who have zero varsity experience coming into this year. And right now, like you said, last week, I think they made some of the best decisions that they've made all year. And then you start working your way up to the upperclassmen with Hannah Hakinen and Sarah Sauerwein and my daughter Reagan in the back, passing as a libero. And then without Izzy, our only senior, she, without her dominating the net and kind of leading by example of what you need to be doing, we wouldn't be where we're at right now either. She's not a really big vocal leader. It's just not kind of what she does. But she gets out there, and when I challenge her a little bit and say, look, you're the only senior on this team, all of a sudden she'll get 3 blocks, 4 kills, and all of a sudden we're right back in a match. So, it's just been a fun team to coach because they listen. They're to the point now where instead of just playing with each other, you can see them starting to play for each other, and they're communicating so much better. It's just a really, really fun group to be around right now.
And last week, you guys had one of the shockers of the volleyball season when you went and not only beat Girard, but you swept a very good, a very talented young Girard team. Do you think that might be, when you look back at the end of the season, and maybe if you guys have some success, that game might be one of the times when you look at the turning point of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. You hope, I guess, at this point of the year that you kind of start peaking. And the other thing that we consistently talk about our team with is when you play somebody twice, you've got to play them better the second time. And I think we've done that every time except possibly Jefferson. And at times we played well against Jefferson. We had 2 middle sets where we just played awful. But the first and the last game, we played pretty well. But like you said, then we come in and we play Mooney, and we beat him 3-0. And then Hubbard comes in, who had beat us 3-0 over there, and we beat them 3-0. And then same with Girard that same week. It was a rough week for us. We lost 3-0 up at Girard, and this time we beat them 3-0. And they were all just excellent sets. I mean, they were 28-26, 26-24, 26-24. So I think both sides were getting close. I know we were getting close every time. They're running out of subs because there was just a lot of side outs and going back and forth. And I think that also shows a little bit of the growth that our kids have had with not, letting teams string 3 and 4 points together on you. It's okay to you give up one and then you side out and you work your way through. But they've really grown up to learn that you can't be giving up those runs we gave up early in the year.
Coach, you finally get a week off. It feels like you guys played 9 games in 13 days.
Yeah.
So you get a week to kind of get into the gym and work on things, and it comes at a really good time because you got Lakeview this week on Thursday. What kind of things are you working on this week to get ready for the toughest team in the league, to put it mildly, the undefeated Lakeview team?
Absolutely. I mean, when you said we have a week off, it kind of made me laugh, like this is not a week off. But just like you said, too, we've been playing so much that we haven't been able to have a lot of practices. So, really, we're going to have 3 practices in a row this week. And I can tell you that, today is going to be a big fundamental day. And it's just a lot of things that we haven't had a chance to do because almost every practice you're preparing for the next team. Today, and we'll probably start thinking about Lakeview more tomorrow and then definitely on Wednesday. But today is going to be a lot of fundamentals. We're going to do a lot of passing. We're going to work on defensive combinations, girls together. We're going to work on our blocking footwork a lot today. So a lot of those little details that we don't often get to work on, we're going to hit pretty hard this week.
You're going to be the NE representative today on Running Point because when you look at the conference, it is so young. Lakeview only has 2 seniors. Girard has 3, and you guys have 1, and those are the top 3 teams in the conference. Does that kind of excite you for how competitive this conference is going to be for the next couple of years?
No, absolutely. It's funny when you go look at it because coming back into this as getting back into coaching. I watched all these teams play the past few years, but I didn't always keep track of how old the girls were or this or that. But when I started looking and you look at you look at Girard and you look at the girl, you say 25, who's that? And you start looking at Pallone, she's pretty good, and then all of a sudden you're like, a sophomore? Holy moly, and then you just look at the different teams. You look at Lakeview, who we got this week, and you say, oh, that Pavlansky girl, she runs the show for them. Like, she's a sophomore. Holy moly, and I hope that people are saying that about us too. And, there's been times this year, and it'll probably happen Thursday against Lakeview, we'll have 4 freshmen on the floor. And that's not by plan or by design, but girls have just earned that. And I think it does. It shows there's some good volleyball that's going to be played here, hopefully for a while in the NE8.
And then, you touched on it, that one of the freshmen that came in to replace Maria Primavera and Maddie Dado, she's asked to do a full rotation to kind of replace Maddie Primavera. When we talked about that on the broadcast with Anna, it's such a incredible task to not be a liability at any spot on the floor from a freshman. What can you say about her and stepping into that role?
Well, Maddie is an exceptional athlete and an even better person, and she always is paying attention, and she's very coachable. So when Maria went down against Lakeview, it was obviously something that kind of brought our team down. But Maddie did not get nervous, and you could just maybe she was on the inside, but on the outside she didn't show, and she hopped right in the game and did what we needed her to do. But in our serve receive, we basically have a 3-person serve receive, and they serve receive the whole game, which is a lot of pressure on those 3 girls. And right now, of those 3 girls, 2 of them are freshmen, and Maddie is one of them. So she comes along, and what she brings most to our team is just solid serve receive. She's a great defensive player, and I think right now she's a little concerned about her offensive game, and I think because she's such a perfectionist, but it's coming along and she's getting better with that. But the reason that Maddie stepped in and did such a great job for our team is because she's a great passer and she's a great defender, and the moment just wasn't too big for her. So, her and Julia Blasco as freshmen are doing a nice job, and then obviously Reagan Irons, who's back there as our libero, she's passing, 75 to 80% of the balls that come over the net at any time, and she's been a good leader for them back there, just keeping her cool. And I would kind of take her kind of as like Izzy in a way, not really a vocal leader, but always doing what's needed for the team. And this past week, there weren't many balls that hit the floor. I mean, against Girard, I think she had 35 digs, and it was just a 3-set match, which means they're hitting it at us a lot. But also, she's getting better and better as the season goes on. So that's been exciting to watch as a coach and as a dad both. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
And that's just so impressive against the Girard team, who might be the hardest hitting team in the conference. When you look at Brie Littell and Lauren Pallone and what they can do with their arm swings and the arm speed, to go up and get 35 digs, that's got to be one of her best performances of the season.
For sure. And I think to have it at that moment was huge. It was huge for her, and it was huge for our team, just as in a comfort standpoint. She's as I said, she's just really coming along and playing great right now.
When you talk about Lakeview, because you're playing them on Thursday, what makes them so good and so tough?
They're just they're a solid team all the way around. I mean, I think obviously the first thing coming from a coach, and you know how important the setter position is, and with Pavlansky there, she just absolutely runs the show for them. And it doesn't matter if she's serving. It doesn't matter if it's in a rotation where she's going to get to swing at the ball a little bit. And she hurt us last time a lot dumping the ball. So I think you look at that. But then they really don't. If you're looking at their stats and stuff, I mean the I don't know if it's pronounced Lytle, Lytle, but she's leading them in kills and she's doing a great job. But they have another girl that's got 99, the Peterson girl that's a senior, and they just they don't have one necessarily girl that you say like the Pallone girl at Girard and the other outside at Girard. They were both girls we worked on last week, but we kind of said, look, wherever she's at, we've got to make sure that we have 2 blockers on her, period. They have girls all over the place that are just making plays all the time, and they just are a solid team that plays together. And there's probably not another sport where it's so important. I would say, I coach basketball, and I know how important it is for teamwork in that sport. And also, I played a lot of football, so that would probably be true there too. But in volleyball, when everybody is playing well, it's really hard to stop a team when they're communicating and playing well together.
You've been a South Range Raider for a long time. You were my 3rd grade teacher, which, wow. What makes you so kind of proud to kind of be a part of the South Range school system and be proud to be a head coach there again?
I can say I've taught in other districts before. I've coached in other districts, but there's just something special. There's something special about South Range, and I think it's the community. It's the community support. It's our staff. It's our administrators. It's our kids. The older kids are there for the younger kids. And you probably remember. And not so much this year, obviously, because we have a lot of different rules. But the high school kids are constantly in the elementary helping out, and then the elementary kids. Last year we had a huge pep assembly where all the kids are together. K through 12, and those elementary kids are screaming like crazy when that football team walks out or when that band plays. There's just something special about this community and about the people that are in it. Whether it's, like I said, whether it's the teachers, whether it's the administrators, whether it's the athletes, whether it's the coaches. Everybody just really is proud to be a Raider around here. That's all I can say. It's a good place to be.
And with volleyball, energy is so important, and you brought up the fact that fans can't kind of be there in the same capacity. But, the team can't really do what they usually do with the huddles and the excitement of volleyball. What kind of creative ways have your program kind of tried to grab that energy of big momentums, but also, you have to keep that 6-foot barrier?
Right. It's hard. It's been hard, but I can tell you it hasn't been as hard as I thought it was going to be. I wasn't even sure we'd still be playing at this point of the season, and the girls and everybody's doing just a great job of wearing their masks when they're supposed to wear their masks, and just separating when we can. I can tell you one thing that we've done differently, and we kind of got it from the college game, is they allowed us this year to stand up on the bench, and they said to stand up to kind of be able to socially distance a little bit, but I kind of took that as an advantage as far as, too, you keep your girls warm that way, too. And if you watch college games, down at the end of the bench, they're constantly standing up. So kind of stole that from them and said, hey, if they're going to let us stand up, we're all going to stand up. Why not be ready instead of sitting down, be ready to go. And I think it improves the girls as far as focusing on the game. The girls that are on the sideline are focused a lot more. It also improves their body language because, sometimes it's hard when you come off and you didn't make the best play in the world or something maybe not so great has happened. And if you have to sit down, sometimes you tend to slouch whether you want to or not. But when you're standing up, I think it just it sounds little, but I think it's been a good thing for our team to kind of keep them more engaged in the game, to have them all kind of standing, and I can kind of work my way down there and talk to them a lot. So that's one thing that we've done that they've changed as far as the rules go for this year.
Another thing that they've kind of brought in from the college game that I really like, I hope it stays, is they rotate balls in. It speeds up the game. What kind of things have you seen now that the game's speeded up a little bit, that the servers don't have to wait to chase balls down or whatever it may be? They just rotate a new ball in. What kind of changes does that bring to the high school level?
Yeah, it's like you said, it definitely speeds it up. And there's times when you want that to happen. If we're on a run, you want that ball there right away. If the other thing is happening and we feel like we just can't, we don't have momentum and the other team's got momentum, you almost want the ball to get there a little bit slower. So it has definitely sped up the game a little bit, which like I said, sometimes that can be a good thing and sometimes not so much, depending on how you're playing.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and talk about South Range Volleyball, and we look forward to hearing from you again, and good luck this week against Lakeview.
Hey, thanks for having me, Anthony. Good talking to you.
All right, good. Bye, Coach.
We'll see you later.
That was TJ Irons, head coach of South Range Volleyball, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We'll take one more break, come back, and wrap this one up on a Monday edition of Running Point on YSN.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at Armstrong Neighborhood HartwoodProducts.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Wrapping up a Monday edition of Running Point on YSN, Anthony Hartwig with you all day. Want to have some house cleaning before we go. Want to say thank you to the coaches that joined us today on Running Point. We had the head volleyball coach at Salem, Casey Costal, earlier in the day. Then we had Jody Bartlett, head coach of Austintown Fitch. We had Boardman head coach Alyssa Birch. And then we just talked to South Range head coach TJ Irons. And I want to just say that all those coaches are also teachers, so we definitely thank them for taking time out of their day. Coach Costal and Coach Bartlett both called us on their planning period, so taking this time to talk about their program, talk about their players was phenomenal from them, and we thank them for their time. Some house cleaning before we go. Playoffs are coming up this weekend, and we are going to be set for that. We are ready to go. We are going to be dedicated to getting to as many games, if not all the games, as possible for playoff time. And it's the same thing as last week. $9.99 gets you access to every playoff game. Make sure you buy it on the channel of the team that you want the 25% to go to, because we are still giving 25% to the coach, to the school that you buy from. So we're still doing that. That hasn't changed. And we're excited for playoff time. We're going to be the only show in town. So this is the only place that you're going to give live playoff football. And we're excited to bring it to you on YSN. So that'll do it. Power Hour is up next. Don't go anywhere. I'm Anthony Hartwig. Ron will be back tomorrow. Until then, this was a Monday edition of Running